I've got to be honest, episode 9 of Power Book 2 Ghost, it was well worth the wait. I'm telling you, there were so many twists and turns, so many off-color comments and jokes. It was fast-paced. I really enjoyed this episode. It's your man Parlo, and on today's episode, I'm going to recap episode 9 and give you my reaction to what I saw in the episode, as well as some of my thoughts and theories and predictions. And I must say, some of my predictions have come true in this episode. Yes, I ain't lying. And so we're going to talk about that. So if you like this type content, if you enjoy Power Book 2 Ghost, make sure you sit on that subscribe button and drop kick that like button as well. Now, before we get into the episode, just in case you missed it, my last episode, I talked about Brianna Barksdale from The Wire and Sissy Saint from Snowfall. And I asked the question, if you had the opportunity to choose, which one of these women would you rather have as a mother? Had a great time with that. Make sure you go back and check that out. It's right here on the channel. Yours truly, Parlo, on the Parlo Gems show. So let's get into it while you are here. The episode started out the morning after Saxe got killed. And so we also know in that evening that on the other side of town, Effie got arrested as well. And Tariq and Kane have yet to speak to one another. So they're doing a side-by-side, and they finally meet up at Davis's office, and Kane is suspect of Tariq. Tariq has no idea that Effie is or has been arrested. And so they get into an argument, and of course they get in their feelings because both of them have tasted that caramel swirl. You know what I'm saying? And so they get into a fight, and I actually thought that this was pretty funny because Tariq is like Day-Day from Friday. He can't fight. We have gone 3 seasons and really hadn't seen him fight anybody. He's put in some work. I mean, he pulled a trigger or two, but you know, knuckling up and squabbling is just different from pulling the trigger. And I was not happy with this scene because Kane can fight. We've seen him put in work with his hands, and it was like a little scuffle. It was very, very embarrassing. They should have just been doing like in grade school, going shoulder to shoulder. And so they finally stop as Davis comes in and breaks it up. He actually calls Tariq Money Mayweather. It's pretty funny. And so Davis agrees to represent Effie while she is being questioned by the feds, Blanca and Jenny. They got her down in the interrogation room, and we're going to talk about that. So Kane leaves, and Tariq and Davis go into the office, and they reflect over Theo killing Saxe and taking his own life. And they begin to discuss where they are, how Effie being arrested plays in them with the RICO, and they get on the same page and understand also that Detective Whitman, who is now dead, he left evidence that Monet took from the office last season that could implicate that she killed the professor. And so Davis held on to that for a little leverage, and Tariq took the files now, and they decided to part ways, and Davis is going to try to get Effie out of jail and see what's going on. And Tariq is on a mission to try to stop this Ponzi scheme from coming to light, as well as not getting killed by Noma's crew. And we see, like I said in my last episode, where I talked about what I was thinking was going to happen, we didn't know how Davis is going to react to his brother killing himself. And They show him drinking more now and looking at the bottle. So he may be turning to the yak. And anytime they start getting chemically dependent or hooked on some type of substance, that's not a good look, in my opinion. Meanwhile, down at the precinct, Effie is hollering, I need an attorney, give me representation. And she throws the cell phone commercial trademark sign on them. Do you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I need an attorney. Very, very funny. And they're trying to flip her, which I talked about in the last episode. They're really going to put the pressure on Effie to try to flip her because she is their last hope. If they cannot flip her, then their case is going to fall through. And while they're interrogating Effie, they get notifications on their phone about Saxe, and they just are finding out that he was murdered and Davis was cleared. The videotape shows that he had nothing to do with it. But of course, Jenny is upset and she is ready to paint the streets red and take down everybody because Saxe is dead. And she did a good job in this scene. We saw her very hot at Saxe the last few episodes, but she shows some compassion and sympathy as well as heartbreak when it comes to Saxe. And so she takes this back to the office and she is on a war path. And I have an inkling that she is going to get a conviction from somebody. You know, pretty much now, up until now, all of the investigators have missed. But I believe she's going to get someone to pay the price. Okay, then it goes to somewhat for the next few scenes where they start dealing with family. And we know that Kane, Tariq, and Braden and Effie, they're somewhat of a family. Okay, they're in business together, and we start seeing all of the families in this episode deteriorating. They're all coming to a breaking point. And so Kane thinks that Braden had something to do with Effie being locked up. And so, as usual, he tries to punk Braden. And I think, like I said in my last episode, Braden is going to get tired of being pushed around. And one of my predictions came true. We'll talk about it later. But I think he's slowly but surely turning a little dark because he has to make up his mind. Is he going to be all in the streets or is he going to be a student? So he convinces Kane. Kane lets him go and leaves him on the street like an injured dog. I mean, Kane really has no respect for Braden. And I believe that Braden looks up somewhat to Kane because he likes how gritty he is, and he knows that's something he doesn't have. And I believe in order to get that in him, he's going to have to pop Kane. And I've said this before. I think he's going to pop Kane sooner or later. That's just my thought. Okay, you guys let me know what you think about that. So he ends up in the hospital, and while Braden is in the hospital, you know, he's really contemplating, I need a break. I need to get away. He wants to go play some video games and go back to the old Braden. But it's time to knuckle up. It's time to stand up on your own 2 feet. And Tariq comes in there and tells him, look, you can't straddle the fence. You have got to make up your mind what you're going to do. Meanwhile, as I said earlier, the pressure point on the families is really heavy. So if you remember in the last episode, Saxe told Theo that if he killed him, he would have some evidence letting people know what was going on in his life. And sure enough, he was killed, and he sent letters out to multiple people. And so Monet is the first one to get a letter. And in the letter, he claims that Tariq is working with the feds. And so he's up to his old grimy ways and he's lying. And they're trying to figure out, is the letter true? Monet doesn't believe it, but you know her, she's going to investigate. And so meanwhile, Tariq is trying to get a hold to Lauren because the pressure is on. And he does not want this to be his legacy. He doesn't want to end up dead or in jail. So he's got to get some more information. And so he's trying to get a hold to Lauren, and she's not getting back with him. She's actually ghosting him. On to the third family, we have Evelyn, and she is convinced that Drew did something to her son, Gordo. Matter of fact, she is convinced that he killed her or he had something to do with him being missing. And Evelyn steps straight to Monet. I mean, she comes at her like a pit bull, ready to grab a hold of her jugular. And she is getting real bold. But you know Monique, she steps to her. She's not backing down. And she's like, well, come on with it. And before they can get into it, like two big cats get to fighting, Kane steps in and deads that situation. And so Monet is telling Kane, look, we're going to have to kill her before she strikes and kills us. And so that is the mission. They're out for blood to cover up their tracks. Over in the next family, Braden's family, the Weston family, the feds break in and put their family up against the wall and lets them know that, look, we're taking you down because of this Ponzi scheme. This is the first time that Daddy Weston is finding out about it. Braden confirms, but he keeps his little chocolate drop out of harm's way. Oh, man. Braden got jungle fever, baby. He is in love and sprung with Kiki. And so he basically tells the family what they need to do, how they need to handle it. They need to get the lawyers. We need to fight this. And we need to find Lucas because he is in the win and he is looking pretty guilty. And Braden is trying to tell them, look, it's not about just looking guilty. Your brother is the guilty party. So this family is crumbling. And so that's the ongoing thought throughout this episode. All of the foundations of these families, it's crumbling. It's coming down. And like I said, I like seeing Braden because he is head over heels with Kiki. And she can't believe it. She thought it was just a little booty call thing. But Braden is like, nah, girl, you know what I'm saying? You my bottom one. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm with you. So we know he is sprung. You know what they say, once you go black, you never go back. Jenny is the next one to get a letter from Sax. Okay, so she reads her letter and he is telling her about how much he loved her. It wasn't just about the sex, that he really had feelings for her and he was hoping that he could be the father of her child. I mean, he's dropping it on her, but it's too late, bruh. You got capped out here in these streets. And so she's reading the letter, and also he reveals that he knows where Tasha is, and he may reveal and help her put an end to this case by putting pressure and revealing where Tasha is to his enemies, so that can cause Tariq to possibly slip. So, man, it's just a lot going on in this episode. She goes back at Davis because she's feeling some kind of way after his death and reading the letter. She wants somebody to pay the price. And so she's trying to go after Davis. She's trying to flip Effie, her and Blanca are on a warpath. And like I said earlier, I think somebody's going to take the fall. I think she's going to get a conviction from someone. Meanwhile, Brayden and Tariq are trying to mend their family. Okay. Tariq basically is telling Brayden what I told you guys in the last episode. Brayden, you're going to have to put in this work. Okay. You can't keep straddling the fence. You're going to have to, he just tells him, you're going to have to kill your uncle. And of course, Brayden doesn't want to hear that. And he's telling him, look, bro, if you're going to be in these streets, then you got to be all the way. And it's really no other way. Either he kills his uncle or they go down for the Ponzi scheme. And so he has a choice to make. Then we see the two Tejada brothers. They go in for Evelyn's throat. They go over to their spot while they're handling business and they put in work. I'm telling you, they take out the whole family. Very believable how they did it. At first, I was like, these jokers ain't smart enough to kill all of them. But the way they did it, I thought it was believable. They gassed their building since it was like a bar or a restaurant. And so it looked like it was just a gas leak. But before Evelyn died, she told Drew that it was Monet who actually had her husband killed and was behind Lorenzo getting killed. And she used him to kill Gordo. Oh, man, Drew is really going through it. And I told y'all one of my theories earlier, I think Monet is going to be done. And I think it's going to come at the hands of one of her very own children. And so they go back and they confront Monet. I mean, they get at it. This is like part 2 of the dinner scene from last season. They really go in and confront her about the lies, about the manipulation, about all of the bodies, and she's being selfish and manipulative. And they're ready to go to blows. I mean, literally, all 3 of them are ready to fight. And you know, Monet, she's ready to go head to head with all of them. And so their foundation is really shot. I think that it's not going to last much longer. Again, I think Monet is going to go sleep next to Ghost, and she's either going to leave or they're going to kill her because they loved Lorenzo. And to see that her wicked hands were behind that death and how she manipulated them, I think they're going to step to her and put in some work. Now, you guys let me know if you think that's true or not. Everyone is taking some type of retribution on their family members. Then the Westons get into it. Brayden finds Lucas. He confronts him. And my prediction was right. Brayden, spoiler alert, Brayden kills his uncle. And the way he did it was very believable. And so I like that scene. He finally stepped up and did what needed to be done. So bye-bye, Weston. He is gone. He is done with. Lucas Weston, shall I say. So then Tariq, like I told you, Saxe told, or he sent out letters. And come to find out, 2-Bit was one who got a letter. Remember I told you that he told Jenny that he told other people possibly where Tasha was, and he told 2-Bit. And so 2-Bit is on his way to meet up with Tariq, or not Tariq, but go to Tasha's house. But Tariq meets up with them and convinces him not to go, and he pays him off, and Tariq goes over to his parents' house where his mother is and his grandmother is, and he's watching to make sure that they're okay. But guess who is there? It's not 2-Bit, but somebody else got a letter. And when you see the car, you already know who it is. Your man, Tommy. Oh, I didn't see this coming. Oh, they did a good job with that. Tommy shows up and he's ready to kill Tasha. He's ready to kill everybody because he is upset about the feds being on his case and Tasha turning coat on him. And so he's ready to put in work. And Tariq shows up to defend his mother again, but it didn't go well. They had words and somebody hit Tariq on the back of the head, kidnapped his mother, left his grandmother and his sister there at the home, and we don't know who it is. Now, could it be Ghost? I still think Ghost is dead. I don't think Ghost hit him on the back of the head. They didn't reveal who hit Tariq on the back of the head. Tommy didn't kill him, but somebody hit him on the back of the head. Could it have been 2-Bit? 2-Bit left the scene. So I am not sure. And so they have really set this up for a great season finale. Okay. How did Tariq find his mother's house? He was in contact with Tamika. They bought her back. And that's how he ended up over there. I failed to mention that. But they pieced it together so seamlessly. It was believable to me. Tariq is just trying to do all that he can to save his family. Like I told you, everybody's family's falling apart, and he's trying his best to keep his together. And I just don't think it's going to end well. I think when it comes to the Tejadas, Monet is going to be dead. We see already in the Weston family that Lucas is dead, and I'm not sure Tasha is going to make it out. I don't think Tasha's going to make it out. I think that Tommy had mercy on Tariq's sister and grandmother, and I think Tasha's going to be killed as well. And that's what I'm thinking is going to take place in this next episode, because they've got to set it up for Force that is going to come out pretty soon here. So this was a great episode, man. I really, really enjoyed it. I've watched it twice, and I'll probably watch it with my wife a third time. Let me know your predictions, your thoughts on episode 9. Who do you think hit Tariq on the back of the head? Do you think Monet is going to got? Is she going to be dealt with? And if so, who's going to do it? Is Brayden going to get Kiki out, or is he going to have to kill her also? And is Effie going to flip? So those are my 5 questions. You guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. This episode was off the chain. Make sure if you enjoyed my reaction, my thoughts, and my theories, go ahead and hit that like button. Oh, it takes me so much time to put this together, but I really appreciate a like, as that would help the channel and let other people know about the episodes. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and be sure to turn on that notification bell so you guys can join me on my next episode in a couple of days. It's your man Parlo. I'll catch you on my next video. Peace.